Right.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I have no idea what I'm doing. So fun fact about me is that I'm a notable, enthusiastic, and resourceful dude. I know that stands for something, but I'm not sure what. Anyways, I say all this because I want to rewind a bit to the year 2011. I was pretty much an awkward person who didn't know how to talk to girls properly, and I really didn't know who would like me until way later on. Was how old? Okay, that's not important, okay? But what is important is that was the year that I discovered this TV series, Chuck. Needless to say, Chuck resonated with me on so many levels that I actually gave it the best series of all time title. It holds a special place in my heart, and I wanted to check it out again to see if it holds up with the person that I am because I haven't seen it in a while actually. And I'm bringing you along for the ride, so buckle up. I was originally scripting for all of season 1, but because of how long the video ended up being, I figured I could just cover episode 1, and depending on how it does, I can keep doing it if you guys want. So we start off with our protagonist, Chuck Bartowski, and you can see right away that he isn't really much of a social person, but his sister Ellie and her boyfriend Devin, who they nickname as Captain Awesome, is really trying to push him to come out of his shell. And he finds himself in this weird exposition / conversation where we learn that he used to be an engineer at Stanford, but now he works at a Bimor for some reason. One of the girls brings up that she knew someone at Stanford as well doing engineering, and Chuck immediately says his name, Bryce Larkin. Ooh. Oh. Whom he says he thinks is an accountant now. Okay, now we flash over to Bryce, who, surprise, surprise, actually isn't an accountant, and we see him beating and hustling to hack a computer to download something called the Intersect. Right, back at our awkward conversation now, and the girl asks Chuck if he has a girlfriend, to which Chuck says no. Of course. He said he did have one a while back called Jill, whom he dated a freshman year, and he ends up yammering on until she walks away. Now we're back with Bryce, and we see some guys trying to bust in, and Bryce makes his escape. We see him run up the stairs trying to make an email. Clearly he's really good because I would have definitely been caught by now. And just when you think he escaped, damn, we knew him for all of 2 seconds.
Too late, Casey.
Cut back to Chuck and Morgan. By the way, this is Morgan, his best friend for like ever, playing video games in his bedroom. Nerds! Morgan says that Bryce remembered his birthday and sent him an email. When opening the email, there's a riddle Chuck has to solve from a game they used to play when they were in college together.
And you're going home. Is it that time? It's that time. Right.
After solving the riddle, it immediately starts playing these creepy looking videos, and we see it's been playing all night as he passes out in the morning. Now as we progress throughout the day, we see he's listening to the radio or watching the news, and something triggers a bunch of images that flash in his head. We got over to CIA and NSA talking about how Bryce was a CIA agent and he wasn't supposed to get unalived thanks to who we now know to be Major Casey of the NSA. Casey asked what the computer Bryce stole did.
This computer did everything. After 9/11, the NSA and the CIA were told to play nice, share their intel. This is how we did it.
Every scrap of data we had went into this computer. It mined for patterns in the chatter, saw things we didn't.
The data was encrypted into thousands of images. Whoever received Larkin's email got all of our secrets.
Okay, so apparently they encrypted all the databases, secrets into videos and images, which creates predictions and searches for patterns, and they pour that into one computer. So these two lovely people instructed Casey to find out where Bryce sent the email, and he traced it to LA, where Chuck is. Now we're introduced to this lovely species, woman, who comes to the nerdhood desk, and she came to fix her phone. Now we have this freaking boomer come up to ruin their moment for a minor problem. He forgot to record his daughter's recital. So Chuck, being the nice guy that he is, agrees to help the guy out with recording the recital. After he's finished helping, he tries to go back to Syria but gets disrupted by a rival employee I mean, it's not really important information, to be honest. And she leaves before he gets to talk to her again. She leaves her car, though, which for some reason Morgan sniffs. Later that night, Chuck and Morgan encounter a burglar trying to steal his computer. But while trying to stop him, the computer gets destroyed. That's some top-of-the-line spy work right there, folks. Turns out it was Sarah.
What?
The next day, this happens.
Phone trouble again?
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm able to receive calls, because I never got one from you.
We should just get married at this point. She says she just moved in and wanted Chuck to show her around. Date scored! Take a sip every time something depressing happens. So while they're on their date, Casey and his team has been following them around to find out who Chuck is working for, and decided to move in on them when they went to a music event. Sarah stops them and runs with Chuck. That's all I have.
Tell me when to turn!
Less than 5 seconds!
Your left or my left?
I think both of their left is the same. They probably just died. They start running to the rooftop and Sarah starts telling him she worked with Bryce in the CIA and she wanted to know if Chuck got anything from him. They end up in a standoff and Chuck has a flash that diverts their attention to something happening urgently. Apparently some general is going to be blown up. Typical Tuesday. So while having all of their back and forth, they end up learning that all the secrets are actually in Chuck's head. Fast forward, they defuse the bomb and that's the episode. They debate who's taking him, but he decides he just wants to go home. I can imagine how overwhelming the entire thing would be. He sits on the bench and Sarah comes to talk to him. She explains that he can't tell anybody anything for their safety.
Trust me, Chuck.
We also see that Sarah used to be with Bryce. Yowza! And the episode ends with Casey working at the Buy More now, and Chuck flashing on Sarah unaliving some people. Okay, so that's the episode, guys. To be honest, it was actually quite entertaining still, and I would very much like to continue shooting season 1. So let me know if you guys have any interest in that, if anybody sees it at all. If you reached this far, then feel free to like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching.